Hello, what's up? How are you? It is a pleasure to meet you and to spend this time with you today. I am grateful to be here as I have a reason to get dressed, to throw on something nice. How many of you are guilty of going to class or doing some work in your pajamas? How many of us out there? I know the world is kind of different today. I want you to say, I am awesome. Today, you may learn something about yourself and feel some type of way about it. The goal isn't to break you down, it's to build you up. So from time to time, I will ask you to say, I am awesome, because you are. The message for today is to just keep knocking. And for the next little bit of time that we share together, can I ask that you be here, that you be present, and feel free to take notes from time to time because I have some great things that I'm going to share with you today. My hope is that by the end of this conversation, you have learned a little bit about me, but have learned so much more about yourself. Our stories are what connects us. It's the emotions we feel while going through the process that we relate to the most. If you have been there before, then you know, you get it, you understand the other person. I believe that we all have a story to tell, full of challenges, ups and downs, struggles, success. But what comes next? Let's begin by closing our eyes. If you feel comfortable, please go ahead and close them. Close your eyes. I want you to take this journey with me. I want you to think of where, matter of fact, I want you to visualize where you want to be in the next year, 5 years, or 10 years from now. How old will you be? 17, 20, 23 years old? What does that person look like? What is he or she doing? Where does he or she live? How much money will you be making? What college will you be going to? Now open your eyes. Welcome back. I'm pretty sure the majority of people, when asked, well, what does your future look like? They had nothing but positive things to say. Yeah, me too. I saw myself graduating college in 4 years. I mean, who envisions a bad future? I spent 11 years at a 4 year college. Let that sink in. Yes, you are correct. I spent 11 years at a 4 year college. Now, I shared this because I know that you are more willing to go deeper if I go deeper first. So here we go. How did I spend 11 years at a 4 year college? Well, I felt stupid. You see, when I was in high school, I got nothing but straight A's. And when I got to college, I figured if it is not broke, why try to fix it? So I ended up getting my first C in college, and I really felt stupid. I felt like I was not intelligent. I just felt like my life really didn't matter at that moment. And so when I felt like things were getting hard or challenging, I didn't ask for help. I didn't talk to anybody. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone. I felt alone. And by the end of my freshman year, I lost all of my scholarships and I was put on academic probation. I wasn't worried though because I believed that my parents saved money for me. I was wrong. I grew up seeing all of these Gerber commercials, and if you don't know what Gerber is, maybe I'm giving my age away a little bit too much. But the Gerber baby commercials, they used to show these scholarships. Like, if you invest in your child, that you'll have the opportunity to pay for their college by the age of 18. That's what these commercials were showing. They encouraged all parents to invest. So by the time their child turned 18 years of age, their college would be paid for. I just knew my parents saved up for me and got me one of those. I was all set, guys. Yeah, I was wrong. Immediately, I realized I had no money for school and there was no way I was returning back to my parents' home. So I stayed. I chose to be there. I chose to go forward with my plan to graduate from college. I was a freshman from the fall of 2001 to the spring of 2007. 6 years of my life. I was technically a senior in my mind. I mean, I put the time in, right? It counts, maybe. But I was a freshman according to the university standards. 6 years of attending classes, sitting in the front row, knowing that my grades may not count by the end of the semester. I was just hoping that maybe if I went to class, it would count towards something. I didn't know what to do. I just decided to be there. You see, most of us get caught up in the what I like to call the blame game. My parents did this to me because of my parents, because of my environment, because of where I grew up, because of my friends, because of my families, constantly blaming everyone else but ourselves. At some point, I needed to take responsibility and responsibility for my life. But today, it's not about me, it's about you. What are you feeling right now? Happy, sad, like you don't want to be here, stressed out, anxious, depressed? All right, say it with me now. I am awesome because you are. Okay? I have a 13-year-old daughter who is now in middle school. I watched her go from being in school to locked in her bedroom all day. I would ask her every day, how are you doing? And she just says, great, Dad. And I'm like, so every day during this pandemic, while you're trapped in your room all day, that equals great? And she's like, I promise, Dad. Okay, listen, from the people who care about you the most and that love you the most, we see you. We see you. We see what's going on, and things are not great. You are not okay. All right, I'm gonna need you to say it with me this again, okay? Say it with me. I am awesome because you are. You are awesome. So here are three things I need you to know. Number one, everything is going to be okay. Despite all that I experienced in college, I grew up to be an awesome man. I am now 37 years old with a beautiful wife, three kids, and I own my own company. Long story short, when this pandemic is over and things return to normal, you're going to be just fine. The second thing I need you to know, E plus R equals O. Write this down. E plus R equals O. Now, there's a lot of things that I'm going to be sharing with you as we continue the rest of this conversation. But if there's one thing that I want you to certainly take away from this conversation is this equation right here. E plus R equals O. And I mean, you can use this for anything in your life. So what we're going to first talk about is, well, what does the E mean? The E is the event, what happened, okay? The R is your response, okay? And the O is what will determine the outcome. And so when the pandemic hit, so the pandemic equals the event, your response to that event is what got you to be exactly where you are right now. Whether you feel happiness or sadness, being stressed out or depressed is controlled by your response to everything that's going around you. You are in control. I want you to start thinking more about the outcome of what you want before you respond. Okay? It's like having a superpower that's on demand. Seriously, when something happens, I want you to first think about what you want, then respond accordingly. For example, if I was to get into a disagreement with my wife, I'm going to think about how I want things to go and how we can best make this work out for the best of us. We have two different styles of how we handle stress or how we respond to things. For instance, when she gets upset, she likes to talk about it in the moment. That's fine. If that's what you like to do, feel free. I'm just lending my active listening ears. For me, if I get upset, you know what? I need a moment. I need to take a second. I need to gather myself. I need to calm down. I need to get myself in order so that I can make sure the outcome goes the way, we both want it to go. Because, think about this. Who wants to spend all day being upset about something? And for some people, that's reality. You let something put you in a particular place. You do not release that tension, that stress, and all of a sudden, it's going with you from every single moment you're having in your day, in your week, and in your life. So, how can we make this work out for the best of us? And how have you been responding to the pandemic? Think about that. How have you been responding to the pandemic? Number three, I need you to be aware of your feelings and emotions, the good ones and the not so good ones. Here we go. Say it with me. I am awesome. Yes, you are. Again, we're just building you up constantly throughout this conversation. When I was in college, I kept a lot of things inside and I was hurting no one but myself. Have you ever gotten into an argument with someone, you leave upset, run into them later, hoping they were still just as upset as you are, but they weren't? This does not do anything but get you more frustrated. We are meant to express our emotions, both men and women. You don't even know how many nights I've cried, but there are different types of cries, the ones from pain and the ones from joy. Like the time my advisor told me in the spring of 2010 that if I did these things, I would graduate in 2 years. So what can you do? Here's what I want you to do. Number one, I want you to find someone or a small group of friends you can trust and talk to. Not just surface level conversations, the deep stuff. The journey is at times better when you do not need to do it alone. I want you to start listening to what you really want. Listen more to your inner coach. Your inner coach is within you. You have an inner coach. You also have an inner critic. And so for most of you, you might notice or have that question, well, what is the inner coach or the inner critic? If you think of your favorite television show or the movie you watch, you might notice they show like this, devil on one side and the angel on the other side, or they might show a good person on this side and a bad person on this side. Within us, we have that. We have that person that is constantly fighting for us to be successful, for us to get over our stress, for us to do our homework, for us to go to that meeting, for us to go to the workout, all the things we want to do. That is what our inner coach is there for. That person is constantly reminding you of what you want to do. And most of the time, we're in touch with that person. Usually at the start of the day, you go, well, what do you want to do today? And your inner coach says, hey, I want to make this a great day. I want to make sure that we ride our bikes today. And you might notice that here comes that inner critic. The inner critic is the one who likes to creep up on you when you want to do something and it reminds you that you should not do it. And that person will say, you know what? Your alarm clock went off at 6 o'clock. Won't you hit that snooze button a few more times? You don't need to get up. Or you might have needed to do some homework. You get home and it's like, Hey, you don't need to do that homework. I mean, you're already getting a C in the class. What's another bad grade? Like, do you want to work any harder than you're doing that right now? Listen, have you ever heard of broken agreements, or do you know what broken agreements are? When you make an agreement to something, and I'm going to start with yourself. If you tell yourself I'm going to get up in the morning, and you tell yourself I'm going to go to bed at this time, and you tell yourself I'm going to do this homework, and you tell yourself I'm going to do these things, the moment you tell yourself you're going to do something, you're automatically making a commitment to doing it. Whether you say you're doing it or internally thinking it, you're already saying, this is what I want to do. And so your inner coach starts preparing you, starts prepping you to get ready to go ahead and accomplish this thing. And all of a sudden, your inner critic says, you're tired. You don't need to do that. Leave it alone. Forget about it. Anytime you break an agreement, you're breaking it with yourself. And let's be clear, who's going to feel that disappointment, that disagreement, that stress? You. You are. So what we're asking you to do right now is listen to that inner coach. And right now, if you're unable to hear your inner coach, it's most likely because you're tuned into too many things that are not aligned with your particular lifestyle. And so if you made some plans and you said, you know what, I'm just not going to do it, here's what we're looking at. If this is the good and this is the bad, or if this is the great decisions, or these are the not so great decisions, right? The more we say we're going to do something and then we don't do it, look what happens, right? All of a sudden, that inner coach is down here. Of course, you can't hear that person anymore because the volume on the things you're not doing is so loud. Your body is already saying, you know what? You've broken these agreements so many times. Why not break some more? And the only person that's going to feel that is you. So I want to remind you to listen to what you're asking yourself to do and follow through. Listen to your inner coach. Again, if you're not hearing that person right now, it's because that inner coach's volume is on low. And how do you turn it up so you can start to hear that more frequently? Simply listen to what it is that you want to do. So if you say, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m., get up. Do the best you can to get up. Get on your feet. Even if it was 6 a.m., you know what? Say, thank you. I got up. This is better than yesterday because you're making progress. Okay? And when you hear that inner critic telling you, oh man, maybe you shouldn't do this, think about how you're going to feel once you accomplish that thing. Because you're going to feel great, you're going to feel amazing, and you're going to know that that was the right thing for you to do. So avoid listening to your inner critic, listen to your inner coach. The last thing here is I want you to have fun. Life is certainly meant to be enjoyable. Bring out the PlayStation, go shopping online. Yes, I know you are going through some things right now, but aren't we all? We're all going through something. Not just you or your siblings or your parents or your grandma, your aunts, your uncles, this entire planet. We are all experiencing something. And if there's anything you get out of this right now and from this moment is that you need to keep going because your part in not just your intermediate family's life, but in society deserves to have the best version of you. And the more you shut that person down, the less likely we are to know your true value and your true worth. So please bring that person out. Share all of you with us. We are meant to enjoy life. Let's go out of our way to enjoy every single moment. I know I spent 11 years at a 4-year college, but I enjoyed every bit of it. I went to parties. I joined clubs and organizations. I did a ton of community service. I believe that experience was meant to be. And honestly, if I changed one thing, maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. I hope that you were able to get something valuable out of this conversation. I believe you are getting the ultimate hookup. You see, one thing I do is listen to people that is older than myself. Why not share the wisdom if you got it, right? And you know what they say? I wish. I wish I can go back in time and tell my younger self the things I know now. I wish, I wish, I wish. And when asked the question, would you like to have $1 million right now, or would you like to go back to the age of 10? 9 out of 10 people said, I would go back to being the age of 10. The best part about you is that you do not need to go back and wish you would have or could have, because your moment is now. The average 2-year-old hears 422 negative words per day. So I can imagine you have been told, no, you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, quite a few times in your life. All right, say it with me. I am awesome. Yes, you are. So what? If you do nothing, you change nothing. And when I was speaking with my mother, she reminded me of something my grandmother told me. And she said, Kevin, if you don't face it, you can't fix it. So, what are you facing in your life right now? Can you fix it? Do you even want to fix it? From here going forward, I want you to commit. And there's a big difference here between interested in something or committed. Let me break this down. If you are interested in something, if you give yourself an excuse, a way out, you're less likely to actually follow through with the thing you're interested in. But when you're committed, it doesn't matter how tired you are. Look, it took me 11 years. The goal is to keep on going. That's what you want to do. You want to keep on going. Like I said at the beginning here, the message was to just keep on knocking. Okay? When you do this, and I'm talking about committing, when you commit, you're going to notice a change. You're going to notice how happy you are. And listen, I'm not saying that the challenges go away, but that things all of a sudden get magically, better, but you will notice a change. You'll start to notice the volume on that inner coach getting louder because you're listening to yourself. You'll start to notice that the things you're doing is bringing you joy. Forget what you like. Let's talk about what you love. Forget something that's good. Let's focus on what's great. Committing to yourself, because that's where it starts. Committing to yourself is one of the biggest things you can do. Because again, like I mentioned, you might have been told so many times that you cannot do something, that you will not do something. I want you to remember that you can. When you do this, when you commit, you will never wish you would have anything if you simply give it your best effort every single time. That's what we want. You will never wish you would have if you simply give everything you encounter your best effort. No one is perfect, but I am awesome. That's right. Say it with me again. I am awesome. Yes, you are. You are awesome. Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, wow, how did they get there? How did they end up like that? And for me, I think about when I was in college and I was 18 years old and I would see people like 40 years old inside of the 18-year-old clubs. I always thought to myself, man, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want you to be that person either. The same thing can happen to you if you do not take full control of your life, your grades, your experiences, your relationships. Your future is all in your hands. So commit. Commit to focusing on what you can do. Successful people have been known to do two things. Number one, they had the courage to start. And number two, they had the courage to not quit. I wish someone shared with me the things I'm sharing with you today. Right now, you probably feel like you are in the longest fight of your life. I mean, we are living a real life Rocky movie here. We keep getting knocked down, and for some reason, we must choose to keep getting back up. Don't become that person who, in 10, 15, 20 years from now, say, I wish I would have listened to that guy who was trying to share some golden nuggets with me back then. I want you to become the person who achieves everything you envisioned when we began this conversation. You just need to keep knocking. Continue believing in yourself. Rest from time to time because you will need it. And then take action. Take action. Everything is going to be just fine. Think about it. You woke up today, didn't you? I'm pretty sure if you put the effort in, you're going to be just fine. You just need to believe that too, because you are awesome and you are amazing. You need to believe that and you need to know that. And yes, things are going to be different and it may be for quite some time, but you can do this because, say it with me, I am awesome. Yes, you are. Think about that. Think about that. Focus on what we spoke about here today. I want you to have a great rest of your day, your week, your month, and your year on purpose.